Today, a disease ravages the American public. The disease shows no prejudice. It doesn't care about the color of your skin, your heritage, your gender, nor your age. It doesn't care about the amount of money you have sitting in your bank account. If you are affected by this disease, you are left living the rest of your life with three options. The first option is treatment. You'll never be cured. You'll be fighting it for the rest of your life. The fight may become easier as time elapses, but you will never be out of the woods. The second option is decay. If you choose not to seek treatment or participate in treatment practices, your life, your relationships, all of your achievements and accomplishments will decay. If you go on long enough, you'll end up at option number 3. Option number 3 is death. This disease is going to kill you in the end. To date, this affliction has caused 841,000 deaths in the United States since 1999. That statistic was pulled from the CDC website. In 1999, the disease killed approximately 18,000 people, and in 2020, it killed 92,000. That is a 511% increase. Another expression of this statistic is that every year the disease kills 25% more people than it did the year prior. This is a problem of immense proportion. It has gained national attention. We have numerous government agencies designed to deter it, and I can guarantee you that every single person that is watching this presentation right now has had the disease affect their life in one form or another. And we are not the only ones. The entire world is at risk of getting sick with it, and yet there isn't anywhere in the world who is as sick as we are here at home. This should not be news to you, but in case you missed it, America has a drug problem. To solve a problem, you have to break it up into different components and look to inform yourselves on the different parts that make up the issue. You have to ask yourself, what is the problem? Well, for the purposes of this presentation, the problem is that a large number of the American population suffer from substance abuse disorders. Specifically, we're going to focus on the opioid epidemic in America, as opiates and opioids are the most dangerous and lethal of the substances regarding death due to overdose. Another question we must ask ourselves to understand the issue: what is causing the issue? This is a more difficult question to answer. Mankind has experimented with psychotropic substances for millennia. The use of these drugs is not always a bad thing. In fact, used medicinally, many of these drugs can save someone's life rather than ruining it or ending it. In short, psychoactive substances are the main culprit causing the drug problem in America. If we are consistent in our theme of the American opioid epidemic, then opiates are the main culprit of the substance abuse disorders that exist among the American population. Opioids are semi-synthetic drugs derived from the naturally occurring psychotropic chemicals found in the opium poppy plant, Papaver somniferium. These extracted compounds are morphine, codeine, thebaine, and orapivine. These opium extracts are then used as precursor chemicals to synthesize the opioids. These compounds are much more receptive to the neurotransmitter receptors in our brain. These receptors control the way we feel and respond to our environment. The chemical composition and constitution of the various opioid substances mimic the structure and physiological function of the endorphin neurotransmitter in our body. Endorphins are capable of attaching to receptors in our brain which inhibit the pain stimulus. Endorphins also function to release the neurotransmitter dopamine, which creates feelings of reward and euphoria. All opioids target the mu-opioid receptor. Since activation of the mu-opioid receptor creates intense feelings of euphoria and inhibits feelings of pain or distress, the recreational use of these drugs has become a driving force for substance abuse disorders. The opioids that are abused the most are chemical variations of oxycodone, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, and fentanyl. They are more commonly known by their trade or brand names. These names are OxyContin or Percocet, Vicodin, Dilaudid, and Fentora. Going back to the questions that break down the issue, we have to ask ourselves another question. What is catalyzing these causes? The problem of substance abuse disorders has been escalated and accelerated in the past 20 years due to various pharmaceutical companies' neglect regarding the sale of these narcotics, the falsifications of research and medicinal data, and illicit methodologies associated with operating a pharmaceutical company. A notorious case in the matter is Purdue Pharma's contribution to the opioid epidemic with the advent of OxyContin. While useful as a pain analgesic, the company's neglect in the pharmaceutical operations that followed the drug's publication was criminal. The criminal negligence of Purdue Pharma led to a significant increase in American citizens that suffered from substance abuse disorders after using the medication with prescriptions. One of the main reasons the drug had such a significant contribution to the opioid epidemic was that Purdue Pharma knowingly showcased the drug's controlled release characteristics inaccurately. The company claimed that the drug's pharmacokinetics, or speed of release, was hindered by a controlled release mechanism, thereby making the drug significantly less likely to be abused. The negligence even extended as far as to alter the scientific data collected during the trials and clinical studies so that the data supported these conclusions. In truth, the drug's abuse deterrent mechanisms were insignificant, and the drug exhibited the same potential for abuse as all other opioids. The altered data was used as a keystone piece during presentations to medical assemblies and exhibitions. This caused many physicians to prescribe the medication for inappropriate applications as they were led to believe that the drug's abuse was unlikely. In addition to falsifying reports, Purdue Pharma engaged in illegal incentives to physicians for writing prescriptions for the medication, as cited by the Department of Justice as kickbacks. Essentially, the company would give physicians money or fiscal favors in return for each prescription written for the drug. The company is also accused of bribing politicians and drug regulatory officials to keep public image of the company and OxyContin upstanding. Once again, another instance of neglecting the operations of a pharmaceutical operation committed by Purdue Pharma was the public defamation of those who used the drug and developed a dependence to it. They publicly claimed that the drug was non-addictive, and the individuals that had developed substance abuse disorders had been taking the drug illicitly or not as directed. They even went as far as to sue and threaten proponents that publicly share their experiences with the drug. Currently, the company faces a massive indictment brought about by the Department of Justice. Some of the indictments have since been resolved, such as 3 felony counts, including 1 count of dual object conspiracy to defraud the FDA and 2 counts of conspiracy to violate the federal anti-kickback statute. Other forms of litigation continue for the company, and Purdue Pharma has now formally admitted fault or contribution in the opioid epidemic in America. To summarize my points and to make sure that the importance of the issue is understood, I will finish the presentation with some of the effects and outcomes of the opioid epidemic stemming from Purdue Pharma.